Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be learning how to cut and sew this beautiful baby romper with ruffle pocket design. This step-by-step tutorial is very beginner friendly and it's super easy to make. If you're interested to learn how to make this, then stay tuned. With me here are the items that I used to make this baby dress. 1 yard of cotton fabric, matching lining to go with it, matching thread, matching zipper, and hard net, scissors, tape rule, and of course your sewing machine. So to begin, we are drafting the upper part. The half length I used 9 inches. The body part here on fold is 7 inches. Now this is the front and the back that I have here. The center back is open with extra allowance. So to begin, I'll mark shoulder 4 inches and I'll mark armhole at 4 inches. I took out 2 inches for the shoulder strap and I extended it all the way to the center back. For the waistline, I usually take out ½ inch from what I have on the chest line and curved out the armhole. Please be sure of the baby's measurements that you're sewing for before marking these measurements. This is it. I'll go ahead and cut out. After cutting this out, I will use it to cut out the main fabric. To cut out the down part, I'll go ahead and fold my fabric into 2 and then fold it again, making 4 folds. 4 folds because we are going to be cutting both the front and the back together. Okay, so what I have here is enough for her waist and the excess that I'll be using for the pleating on the romper. Alright, so I'll go ahead and mark a starting line right here. So this part is on fold, is going to be the sides. I'll not be having joining on the side of the romper. You can go ahead and add joining allowance on your own if you want, but for me, I didn't see any need for that. So on the waistline, I took her waist measurement divide by 4 and I'll also add extra of that same figure. So her waist divide by 4 is 6 and I added extra 6 inches, making 12 inches right here on her waist. Okay, the excess is for the pleating or the gathering on the waist. So I felt like you guys were not going to be seeing it properly. I told the fabric like this. I don't know if this is going to be better, but I was just considering you that is going to be watching this, so don't mind me. Alright, so I was just cross-checking what I already imputed on the waistline. Now I'm going to measure the crotch depth. For the crotch depth, I used 9 inches. So from the waist, I'll mark 9 inches. So I will mark the same thing I have on the waist right there on the crotch and extend it to the top. For the crotch extension, I used 1.5 inches and I'm just going to curve it into the crotch, into the center back and center front like this. Nothing serious, just go ahead and freestyle your thing. Now I'm going to take the short length and for that I used 12 inches, which I am marking right here. So I'm just going to extend the line all through to the side. On that short length, I took out 2 inches from what I have on the upper part and I went ahead to connect straight and then cut out. So for the stiff net I'll be adding to it is going to be shorter than the lining piece, just the way it is here. Okay, so you can see where the stiff net ended even before the crotch curving, and for the width is going to be ×2 of the waist of the trouser. Okay, now we are going to be cutting out the pocket design with this. So this is folded into two. I'll go ahead and mark a starting line. Now on that line, I'll measure 5 inches upwards and 5 inches sideways. Okay, so this is basically 5 inches by 5 inches block. Now on the bottom part, I'll just go ahead and give it a smooth curve. Just freestyle this. Like I always say, nothing serious, just use your initiative. And this is all there is to the pocket. Now I'll just go ahead and cut out. For the ruffle on the pocket, I used 31 inches length, and the width I used 3 inches. Okay, so 31 inches by 3 inches, and that's it. Cut out and then separate the two, because we are going to be having two for the both pockets. So time for stitching. The first thing I did was to go ahead and hem the bottom part of the short. So I folded in 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch and went ahead to stitch all the way from top to down. After hemming, then pleat the waist. Pleat the waist to be her exact waist measurement divided by 2, because this is like two parts of the trouser. Okay, you know, there is no joining at the side, so that is why. So after pleating or gathering, I went ahead to cross check my measurements to be sure that I have the accurate measurements. So for the pocket, I also folded in the upper part, just the upper part, just to give it a neat finish. Okay, so this is the ruffle. I'll also hem the lower part, that is the part that is going to be dropping out of the pocket. So I hemmed it just the way I am doing here, and then after hemming, I went ahead to gather it as well. Please, oh, don't mind my pattern of gathering. This is the easiest way for me actually. But if you have gathering footer, or you can run a stitch, a loose stitch, and then drag it with your hand, is completely fine. But this one is also not bad. Okay, so you can see it came out nice. So I'll just place the ruffle on the pocket and go ahead to stitch it around the pocket. So stitch with 1/2 inch all the way around the pocket, just like I am doing here. After making the pocket, next is to go ahead and stitch it onto the short, onto the romper. So from the top, I left about 1.5 to 2 inches before placing the pocket, and on the side I left 2 inches as well. I pinned it down to secure it in place, and I went ahead to top stitch around. So just go ahead and stitch all the way around like this with a matching thread, so it doesn't look awful. So what I did to this part, I'll do to the other part as well. What I did next was to go ahead and pleat the stiff net and sew onto the romper. You know, this is completely optional, right? Just that I want it to be really bogus and, you know, have a full effect, because I want it to look plump on my baby. So this is absolutely optional. So I sewed the stiff net onto the waist of the trouser of the romper, just because I'm going to be covering this with a lining as well. Okay, remember, this is not supposed to be touching the baby's delicate skin, or even anyone's skin at that. After stitching the hard net onto the romper, I went ahead to now cover it with the lining. This can be done once, okay, but I just wanted to show you step by step, so you see how I place each and everything onto it. So you can see that now this lining is covering the net. That way the baby's skin is protected. So whatever I do for this part, I'll go ahead and do same for the other part. Please note that I left about 1 inch space at the end of the romper, so I'll be using it for joining fabric to fabric and lining to lining. So next is to place both parts together, join lining separately and join the main fabric separately. After joining the sides, I masked the crotch area properly and then joined that part as well. Okay, so this is what the inside of the short looks like. You can see how well the lining covered it. Okay, so the next thing now is to work on the top part. So these two pieces of fabric right here are what I cut out for the shoulder strap. They are 5 inches long and 3 inches wide. Okay, so I'll just fold into two and stitch at 1/2 inch for the both of them. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If you have not subscribed, kindly do so. Okay, subscribing is free. Please subscribe and like the video. Thank you. So after stitching the straps, I went ahead to turn it out with this pin. Okay, very easy. Now position the straps on the front neckline, pin it down, then cover with lining and sew from one armhole to the other armhole. After fixing the straps, next is to join the side of the top. So I'll position the fabric to match the fabric and lining to match the lining, just like I always do, to give me neat finishing inside. Okay, so now I'll proceed to join the top to the short. If you look closely, you will see that I opened up the short on the center back a bit so that I'll be able to run a zipper through that point for easy wearing and unwearing. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and attach the top parts to the short parts. We're almost done. The next thing left is to attach zipper to the back. Okay, I said let me ask you again. Have you subscribed yet? Please, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I don't know what you're waiting for. You need to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications so that you will get to be the first to see our new tutorials every week, okay? So these little embellishments, I found them in my stuffs and I decided to use it since our inspiration. I mean, the inspiration behind this romper has a little embellishment. So I thought to myself, why not? But if you don't have something like this, it is completely fine, okay? So I used a needle and matching threads to tack this to the romper. Now when stitching, you have to be very careful so the thread is not scattered all over the place. Like this embellishment, it has opening, so that's where I am passing the needle into, making sure it's not going to show inside. I'm just, stitching like I'm stitching it lightly on the top so that it will not enter into the lining. So after stitching, I cut out and then knot the thread to tighten the stitch, just like this. Okay, I'll also do the same to the other side, and that's it, guys. We are done. Thank you for watching to the end. I hope you subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye.